What's up everybody? Today we're going to do some rim jobs, so to speak, with some Plastidip Blaze Blue. And before that we need to clean everything off with some brake cleaner. And the reason is pretty much this. As you can see, there's a lot of scratches. It will take a lot of time to actually do something proper and do it with the same color and restoring these rims, and I simply don't care, because these are not any high performance stuff or anything I really care about in that sentence. But when it comes to reliability for all-around tires, friction tires like these, I'm just going to give them a second chance and do something fun. So, preparing the winter car, the Plastidip. Gonna take some time to run the engine hot for about a half hour and start some small maintenance to get everything back in order. And as you can see, the old winter tires seem to be functioning, no leakage, what I can see so far. And yeah, they're my backups in case the spacing on the Plastidip doesn't go up to specs what I was hoping for. So, preparation time, make some fun wheels. Well, and before you guys and gals and everything in between start complaining to me with, it's not so bad, they look okay from afar, then take a load of this, and this, and this, and these, and basically somebody just switched tires on these rims, and they stored it on the wrong side, facing downwards, and that's why all the cracks and all the scratches and everything are right here in the middle. And curb damage, of course, that's a classic when you don't care so much about your car, or if these rims has been from another owner before the previous owner and they just needed something fast to buy to the car, because these are not original for the Plastidip. So this is the result after all the degreasing, and as you can see, they're pretty bad, pretty bad. And what I'm using the Plastidip in this case, because it's a thick plastic color and material, and it really masks up and hide these kind of rivets and everything you see, which are kind of deep. And a couple of layers of this paint hides that pretty good. So you don't have to prep the rims in that manner you used to maybe need to recolor with original colors, metallic colors and whatever, and spray paint. So this is a fast solution, which also hides damages pretty good. And this is what I can show somebody that buys my rims later on, is why I covered the rims. And also make them look a bit newer instead of having these trash on the car, because in some manner I still have a style on this car and I still want to keep that one. So I'm gonna put some effort in doing something better with these rims. Alright, so the second part before painting is to mask up with the masking tape. Any masking tape whatsoever for houses and whatever you can use when painting. And we're gonna put some tape exactly underneath the, as you can see here, there's a small separation here at the rim where they stopped basically with the clear coat, because it's not that as you can see here, even if it's a bit dirty, it's not as painted as it is on the top. So I will put tape beneath this started line here, in case the color starts to pour and it sticks on the tape. On the rest of the rim it doesn't really matter, because it's going to get dirty anyway and it doesn't stick that much, so I can always clean that off later. So you don't have to put a lot of paper and stuff like that. And then we need to remove the center cap, because the paint, in this case, because it's a moving paint with a Plasti combine. So you have to, but when the paint starts sticking on, it needs to like hold on to the rim. So it's better for the color to pour a bit into the center cap. In the center of the rim before applying the center cap back. And you can always paint the center cap of the same color if you want to. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to change those to maybe a Mazda emblem or something much cooler later on. So, first preparation done. Second preparation is taping. And also cover the vent so you can so it doesn't stick any paint within where you put the nozzle when you need to refill the air. And also put tape at the outside of the rim here. Here you can usually see people use somebody business cards or whatever else works, it doesn't matter, but I usually put tape and just parts like this, one tape there, one tape there, one tape there, and keep going until I have a good circle. Alright, so check this out. Everything is covered around the rim like this, and within, straight down from that line where the clear coat stops. Remove the center cap, and that's it. That took about 10 minutes, so 10 minutes on each wheel. And then I'm gonna do some wiping with just some paper in case some dust or whatever came on the rim when I was working, and then we'll start spraying. Alrighty, so I'm all ready here. So you can see here, prepped with some newspapers underneath in case of it's dripping paint coming between the bolt holes and everything, and the center cap, behind the center cap. So I just wanted to show you a good technique when spraying colors with spray cans. And you will have to have a newspaper or a cardboard box or whatever, and has that as a shield when you apply the spray paint towards the rim, and keep going like this. And it's a good thing to just have this on one tire and then switch to the other side on the next tire in case of the dripping from the newspaper or whatever. So that's what I'm going to do. Time for the first layer. Alright, and here is the result for the first layer. It took 1.5 can of Plastidip glaze to get it even and not too transparent. And it's a good first layer. I had some dripping, but controlled, that is. I just applied more paint and it started like evening out. So it doesn't matter because it's still going to be a plastic covering paint and not like normal paint. So applying more is better instead of less, which is the most common practice when using metallic colors or any kind of spray paint really on cars. So as you can see here, some drips, but still it evens out when you apply more. So I'm just going to let this crawl into position because this paint needs some time. And the next time I'm at the garage, I will apply the second layer with the rest of the half-second can, and that should be enough. So that's that. To be continued. Hey everyone, so I'm back. The rims have been drying up for 2 days since I painted, and it's looking awesome. As you can see, there's some still touch-ups to be done, but I really like this matte color of blue blaze. So I'm just going to be applying the second layer, all these half transparent parts. As you can see here, there's some still, you can still see some of the scratches, but they're pretty good covered. It was much worse before. So I'm gonna address this and just heat up and start spraying. And we're back. So the ending results is pretty much what I expected. The scratches and dimples are barely visible if you don't stand really close, but from afar everything looks good. So I'm gonna do some slight touch-ups on some parts I saw was a bit lighter on the color, as you can see here. Just some parts close to the rim. And overall, I'm just gonna remove the masking tape and start finishing up here. So, pretty good, fast results if you want to have something old to look a bit new. Alright, so some new stuff as a DIY. Changing wheel bolts. I had some extras lying around. Gonna switch them out from the Demio's rusty bolts. As you can see here, it's been in use for quite some time. I think on 3 cars before these. And I also have another interesting thing you can do to touch up old tires and rims. So first of all, we're going to use a white marker pen. You use them usually in bathrooms to fix tiles or stones, depending on the colors. This one is white, which is the perfect kind of fluid from a pen like this, which you can switch out the pen. And I recommend this much more than buying those tire pens you can buy on eBay and stuff like that, because they are worthless. Tile pens, however, they really stick, especially on rubber and stone. So these are actually for being a long used fix for humid and damp and wet surfaces. So it really holds for the test of time. And I'm gonna write out some of the texts, which is kind of racy, 90s sort of spec to use, which is gonna look pretty cool on these tires, I think. And I also bought myself for the first time rim protection. This is something you just put with an already tape adhesive and around the rim in order to protect dimples and scratches like these. So I'm gonna apply this and see if it holds up. This is gonna be my first try of doing this. Back in the days you could buy plastic already measured circles for your tires. These are more the freebase sort. You can just apply and cut, and you get a couple of meters to use it on. And adhesive, as I mentioned, and I have no idea if that's gonna stick on Plastidip, but we'll see. So there's another really good thing while working with Plastidip. The color is really crawling, and you can use it at any time to just touch up every small scratch or if you think there's not enough paint on some parts, then you can just apply a little more. If you have a third can, you can just touch up everything before removing the tape and just let it dry at the same time you're extracting everything else that you don't need on the tire. So a really good tip with just using Plastidip, because you can use it on the fly. You can even use it when it's on your car. So if you found something later on that you need to touch up, you can just take another spray can and be careful just to apply that on that area you found. So another cool tip for using Plastidip that you don't have to do with other kinds of rattle cans, and a really good thing to work with if you're in a bit of a hurry. This is so boring. Painting tires because it's in the 90s, but now it's late 2000s. Oh, it's an E, an N, and so forth. Whew. Alright, so I'm done with the first tire. As you can see here, I applied the protection, rim protection here. I'm just gonna let it dry for a bit more. And I applied some extra adhesive in the connecting point after I cut it. I guess it will make it better. All the rest of it is just pushed by hand. Nothing fancy other than the rubber extra layer around the rim, which works perfectly on these because they actually had a lot of scratches and dimples from all the curb damages. So this should work. Starting to look really nice. And also the text, I did a pretty fast job. Maybe a little messy at some corners, but it doesn't matter. You can just use a black permanent pen to paint over that in case you're really picky about those things. But from afar, they look pretty nice. So I'm gonna do that to the rest of the tires. And this took about 15 minutes or so. So it's gonna be that on each tire. So check them out. Ready for installment. Oh yeah. Worked pretty good. All the components are sticking. And the color is sticking. And now it's just small things like the center caps, new wheel bolts, and then it's ready for a test drive with the new wheels from the 90s. And we're back. So I've been fixing the center caps with some foliage, which is just fake carbon, as you can see here. Pretty common in most stores. You can buy them in any car store really. And we got ourselves some new caps as well for the valves, which is going to look great. And so what I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to just be sure that everything is sticking properly by hitting all the adhesive up with the warming gun, heat gun. This one, as we used before when fixing the fenders. And also these are a bit yanky because you have to overlap like this in order to fix the sides as much as possible. And it's more possible with a cap like this because it goes inside the center. As you can see here, it has a bit of a rivet around here, so I think that we're gonna mount on pretty good without anything sticking out. So heating everything up, and it's gonna look awesome. And we're done. So this is how they're gonna look. This is the finished product. And I estimated a day ago about the pricing of everything. So 2 cans of Plastidip Blaze, and you should have 3 in case you need to touch up or whatever, or have an extra if you scratch your rims or need to just apply anything. And it's about 2 cans, 3 cans, maybe say $30 in total. $2 for some caps, and buying foliage, carbon, maybe $10. And rim protection was about 2, so let's say it's $10 for the rim protection as well. So not expensive at all, making the tires and wheels look almost new, and with your own touch. I went with the carbon, for instance. You can do whatever. So now comes the fun part. Installation. And it's done. Everything is on. Everything looks good. And it's now ready for a test drive. And hopefully it won't scratch everywhere. Because now it's pretty tight. Let's see.